Man, for a number of different reasons, I really hope Samson Okunlola is the Miami Hurricanes' next verbal commit.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, your host. I'm a University of Miami alumnus and longtime South Florida sports radio vet, including pregame and postgame for Miami Hurricanes football. And thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We are available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. So I believe that the big next wave in recruiting that Mario Cristobal talked about a couple weeks ago at ACC Media Days, I think we're in the middle of it. I think it's a long wave. I think that next wave started with Malik Bryant, the four-star linebacker out of Orlando, continued with Tommy Kinsler, the three-star offensive tackle slash guard, because I think he can move to the interior at Miami. And then it continued with Connor Lew, the 3 or 4-star center out of Kennesaw Mountain High School in Georgia. Real quickly on that, I know some folks took issue when we did our Connor Lew episode over the weekend. I think Friday was when he committed. I referred to him as a 3-star. That's his composite ranking. That's the industry average. He is a 4-star according to 24/7. So I should have been more clear that he is a 4-star in at least one place, averages out to 3-star. But guys, I really hope that the next verbal commit Miami lands, or at least one of the next, is 5-star offensive tackle out of Massachusetts, Samson Okunlola, who's been trending to Miami. And we were hoping, and I guess we're still hoping, we get an announcement at some point this summer. Although, summer is not going to be here for that much longer. We're, early August. We're going to be mid-August before we know it. But I think there's a couple of reasons why I would love Miami to get the verbal commitment from him. And of course, nothing is binding until you sign a national letter of intent. But for one thing, it would be great momentum to get another 5-star in, right? Miami has some high-level 4-stars, but the only 5-star that they have in right now is another offensive tackle in Francis Mauigoa. So it'd be great momentum to get another 5-star in. And as we've seen, big-time recruits, big-time verbal commitments, oftentimes these guys are some of your best recruiters. I mean, look at what Mauigoa and Antonio Tripp and Jaden Rashada have been doing, recruiting other players to come and join them at Miami. I think the enthusiasm for this program is infectious, and Okunlola could add more to that. Another reason why I would love for him to be the next verbal commit is the longer the process plays out for him, since he is one of the most highly touted players in the entire country, as a 5-star, third-ranked offensive tackle in the class. Miami already has the top-ranked guy, but he's the third-ranked guy. If he lets this drag out for a few more months before he announces, that gives so many more opportunities for other universities to recruit him, to get into the mix and make him, if he is in fact leaning to Miami, which is where, all the crystal balls and the on-3 predictions are trending. If he is in fact leaning to Miami, and I believe he is, the longer this drags out, the more it gives other schools a chance to make a big push, including and especially Michigan State, who I've been told in recent weeks are not necessarily leading Miami. I think Miami is in the lead, but that Michigan State has been really pushing heavily for this player, and they're trying to get into the mix. Remember, Michigan State recently missed out on Peyton Kirkland, who ended up choosing Texas. I think Michigan State for a while was kind of banking on him coming there. So they're putting more of their efforts into Samson Okunlola from Thayer Academy in Brockton, Massachusetts. And also, I mean, if I could be so greedy, if Miami were to get a commitment from Samson Okunlola, probably the best offensive line class the Hurricanes have ever had. You would have Okunlola at one tackle spot, Mauigoa, who's even higher ranked coming out of high school, and he is a beast. He is like a kraken from the sea. I mean, if you've watched Mauigoa's tape and you watch what he did at the Under Armour Future 50, you watch what he's done in high school, that guy's a grown man. He's a grown freaking man. And so is Okunlola. They call this guy the pancake honcho because he pancakes fools left and right. So right there, you could have Okunlola and Maui Goa as your tackles, all in the same class. Antonio Tripp at one of the guard spots, who I love. Tommy Kinsler, I know he primarily plays tackle in high school, but he can definitely play guard, could move to guard at Miami. So Tripp and Kinsler as your guards, and you've already got Connor Lew as your center in that class. Like, you could end up bringing in a pretty darn complete offensive line of awesome players, especially your two tackles in the same recruiting class. So I hope it happens. I pray to the football gods every night that Samson Okunlola is going to make it official and commit to Miami. He's got 3 crystal balls from 24/7. They all have him to Miami, including Steve Wiltfong, and he is predicted to Miami at over 95%, according to the On3 prediction machine. So there's been a lot of momentum for the U. I hope we can close the deal. Let's talk about some other players on the radar. Defensive lineman Rueben Bain. This is one we've been kind of counting on. It's not completely over. He's out of Miami Central. He's a local, and he's a Miami legacy. Miami is the favorite, but the Alabama Crimson Tide are also after him. So I don't think this is a sure thing yet. Hurricanes coaches, though, continue to be in constant communication with Bain. And I remember reading within the last few days that Bain has said that he wants to play on the same team as Malik Bryant. So, yeah, the two of them can, get together with Miami. All 6 of his 24/7 crystal balls, by the way, point him to the U. The On3 prediction machine has Rueben Bain at over 91% to the Miami Hurricanes. Another recruit that's going to be announcing this week. I don't expect Miami to get him. And I think most of you who watch this show every day and you follow recruiting or with me, you're not expecting this player. But running back Cedric Baxter in Orlando, he's going to be announcing this Wednesday, August 10th, a.k.a. tomorrow. Baxter is trending heavily to Texas. I think Miami has a shot, but kind of a long shot. I think at running back, by the way, Miami has a much better chance at 4-star running back Christopher Johnson out of Fort Lauderdale Dillard. He does not have an announcement coming up anytime soon. He's been trending to Miami. He did say recently that he wants to see what Miami can do in the regular season coming up before he makes up his mind. But, and Ole Miss is his other finalist, by the way. I think it's going to come down between Ole Miss and Miami for Christopher Johnson. He's trending more to Miami at this point, but he wants to see what Miami can do against the likes of Texas A&M in September. He even mentioned Clemson, which Miami doesn't play until November. So is he going to wait that long before deciding? We shall see. Someone to keep your eyes on is Damon Wilson out of Venice, Florida, 5th-ranked edge rusher in the class and a 5-star player in this class of 2023. Now, when we talk about a lot of these players, these high school recruits, sometimes I'm going on my own information that I dig up. Other times, I steal stuff from people. But when I steal information, I credit the people that I steal it from. So it's borrowing. It's not really stealing. So I want to give credit to D-Money from CanesInsight.com, who wrote about Damon Wilson in his newest column, his recruiting column at Canes Insight. He mentioned Wilson being one to really, really watch out for. We may be turning our eyes even more to Wilson now that Samuel Apemba, who Miami is in play for out of IMG Academy, but he's being crystal balled to Georgia. So if Apemba is trending more towards Georgia, Miami is maybe going to try to trend more towards Damon Wilson. So that's definitely a player to watch. For Wilson, Alabama and Georgia are both considered to be ahead of Miami for him, according to the On3 tracker. He has no crystal balls on 24/7, so no predictions have been made there. On On3, they give Alabama the edge at 51%, with Miami at under 6%. Obviously, this stuff is fluid and can always change. Other players that we're looking at. Miami is strongly recruiting the top defensive tackle in the country in 2023, David Hicks. Hurricanes are, I guess, believed to be a long shot here, with Texas A&M looking firmly in the lead, but we will see what happens, because I know that he's visited Miami before. He seems to have enjoyed it, and the staff likes him a lot. I mean, every staff in the country likes David Hicks a lot. Who am I kidding here? 4-star wide receiver William Folwes. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think Miami is all that interested. The suspicion is he may not be a take. He might not even have a firm offer from Miami or even a firm offer from Florida State. That could be why Foles keeps pushing his commitment date back and keeps kind of waffling on that. I think he's trying to figure out like where he actually has a spot. A couple days ago, he tweeted, quote, "I'm calm, but next week it's up," he said. Usually when someone has to tell you they're calm, it means they may not be that calm. So I don't know what's going on there, but it makes you kind of suspect if Miami maybe isn't clamoring for William Folwes, maybe that means the Hurricanes feel good about 5-star wide receiver Jurrion Dickey. As we've talked about, Miami's definitely after him. Dickey, though, is verbally committed to Oregon. Hurricanes have not stopped recruiting him. He was here at the barbecue last week at the cookout. Another bit of info from D Money from Canes Insight. He noted that Dickey is starting his own fishing channel on YouTube. Now, one of our YouTube commenters on our YouTube channel where we do not fish, I think Eric D is the guy who's definitely not a Miami fan, but he shows up in the comments every single day. And fair play, man. I don't care what team you root for. You want to show up in our YouTube comments, you're free. It's a free country. You can do it. But like he hates it whenever I talk about how Dickey can do so much fishing in South Florida if he commits to Miami. He's like, you can fish anywhere where you've got a body of water. All you need is a pond or a lake or a stream or a puddle. Stop talking about Miami fishing. Bro, I know you're going to show up in our mentions again saying, you don't have to live in Miami to fish. But come on, man. If this guy is looking to make money off of, which you're allowed to do now with NIL, if he's looking to make a little dough off his own fishing channel, a little side hustle, where do you think people want to watch you fish on YouTube? Do they want to watch you fish in Eugene, Oregon, or do they want to watch you fish in South Florida? I mean, come on, man. I think that's a no-brainer. So I think all we have to do to seal the deal with Dickey, get Jimmy Johnson to take him out on his boat, do some fishing, man. What do you say? Other wide receivers, Miami still recruiting Andy Jean, 4-star out of Miami Northwestern, even though he is verbally committed to Florida. A couple weeks back, he did that. That was actually the same weekend that Miami had their cookout. 5-star wide receiver who's newly minted 5-star, by the way, wasn't a 5-star. So the fact that he's been upgraded to 5-star makes me think he's definitely not coming to Miami because they usually trend that the other way when guys are coming to Miami. But Hykeem Williams from Fort Lauderdale Stranahan, he's trending to Texas A&M. I haven't really been getting great vibes about Miami's chances there. I think maybe we do have a shot. As he has said in the past, he wants to make an official visit to Miami. So I hope we get that OV from him. He announced on Monday that he's going to be committing. He's going to be announcing his commitment on September 23rd. So we're going to have to wait about a month and a half for this one. His finalists are Texas A&M, who I believe is the strong favorite, Miami, Florida State, Alabama, Georgia, and Pitt. Okay. The Miami Hurricanes, as we've talked about, they're recruiting several safeties who are verbally committed elsewhere. So they're going for some flips here. Remember, Jaden Bonsu, who's not committed anywhere yet. He's going to announce on August 14th. He was once trending to Miami. He's now strongly trending to Ohio State. So Miami might lose out on Jaden Bonsu, but they are still committing King Mack from St. Thomas Aquinas, who's a 4-star prospect, but the 8th-ranked safety in the class of 2023. So he's actually ranked higher than Bonsu. Different players, style of play, but he's ranked higher overall than Bonsu. Miami is recruiting, and King Mack, by the way, is committed to Penn State. Don't know if I mentioned that. Miami is recruiting him. Daemon Fagon from American Heritage, who's the 19th-ranked safety in the class, 4-star. He's committed to NC State, but Miami is still recruiting him. And another one from St. Thomas Aquinas, who's also committed to Penn State, Conrad Hussey. I think I've heard even more buzz for Hussey than I have for the other two. He's the 25th ranked safety in the class, according to 24/7 Composite. Another 4-star out of St. Thomas Aquinas, and Miami's been recruiting him. So you've got a lot of safety talent at the local high schools, and the Hurricanes are trying to get some of these guys. Oh, guys, I want to talk about I do have a couple things I want to do. We got a question from Dominic. Yeah, kindergarten cop. Yes, Dominic, what are you talking about? Dominic wants us to power rank all of Miami's opponents for next year from 1 to 12. We got the coaches poll dropped. The first coaches poll has dropped. Where does Miami stand? We will talk about that more. Guys, we're just getting started here. Locked on Canes, we're going crazy. We're having a great day. We're going to get to more content after we talk about the great people at LinkedIn Jobs. Hold on, I got an overlay for this. Oh, look how beautiful it is. Oh, it's a clickable overlay. Technology is just crazy these days. And guys, if you own a small business, you want to take advantage of LinkedIn Jobs. They are here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. You can create a free job post in minutes. You're looking for good people to hire. LinkedIn Jobs, it's a no-brainer. Create a job post in minutes to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then you add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Then simple tools like screening questions make it easier to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn. That's a lot. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We are available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. And actually, we don't do this a lot. The video version, which you're watching right now, is actually different from the audio version today. The technological challenges that I've had on this little trip of mine, I had usable audio without usable video. So I wanted to make some usable video, and I think we'll post some of this audio to the audio channel later. But this gives me a chance to plug my content. So if you're watching the video version, the audio version, similar topics, but it's a little bit different. So check out the audio version today as well. And, make sure you realize we're available free on YouTube. So hit that thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe to our channel. How about that? So we have the coaches poll, which rates Miami. And drum roll, I think this is fair. The Miami Hurricanes, according to the first edition of the coaches poll, number 17 ranked team in the country. I said it last week when we had the preseason rankings come out from CBS Sports and the preseason rankings from Sports Illustrated, which both had Miami in the top 20. I think it was like 17th and 19th. They had Miami respectively. Anything between 15 and 20, I think is fair for where the Hurricanes are. Coming off a 7-5 season, you've got a little bit of hype, well, a lot of hype, with the coaching change and everything happening at the university and the transfer portal, everything that's Tyler Van Dyke, Mario Cristobal, everything that's going to make this team, I believe, better heading into the coming season. But then you also have a team that, didn't win the Coastal last year. They've got plenty of stuff to prove there. 17th in the coaches poll. That's totally fair. Miami's got a lot to prove. And guess what? You go out there, if you obliterate FAMU and then you obliterate Southern Miss, and oh my gosh, what if you go to College Station and actually pull off a big upset? Then you're going to find yourself in the top 5 a few weeks into the season. If you can do that, of course, that's a big if. But Miami can earn their way up. So let's take a look at what we have here in the coaches poll top 25. Very few surprises here, honestly. Alabama, #1. Ohio State, #2. And those teams also have the top 2 Heisman favorites, right? C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, actually the odds-on favorite. Bryce Young, the defending Heisman winner, is #2 there. Then you've got Georgia ranked 3rd, Clemson ranked 4th. Miami's going to see them maybe twice this year. Notre Dame ranked 5th. I think they might be a little overrated. I'm not surprised they have them there, but I think the Fighting Irish, they kind of have the opposite thing that Miami has. Miami's usually perennially underrated, where Notre Dame's perennially overrated, but whatever. Michigan at number 6, Texas A&M, who Miami sees in September, number 7, Utah at number 8, Oklahoma number 9, Baylor ranked 10th, Okie State 11th, Oregon, Cristobal's former team, ranked 12th. NC State 13th, so they're the second team from the ACC checking in. Michigan State ranked 14th. USC ranked 15th. There's a lot of hype for USC. Same thing, a lot of hype for Miami. Pittsburgh ranked 16th, and Miami ranked 17th. Then you got Texas, Wake Forest, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Houston. So as far as Pitt being ranked spot of my that last year, whereas the Miami Hurricanes, you know how many times the Hurricanes have won the ACC since they joined it almost 20 years ago? Same amount of times I've won the Powerball. 0. So, yeah, Pittsburgh being ranked a spot ahead of Miami. I think Miami's going to earn that on the field, but, it is what it is with Pittsburgh being ranked ahead of the U. So that is your coaches poll, top 25. I'm just happy Miami's on there, and I'm happy that they're ranked in the top 20. Okay. Dominic. Yes, kindergarten cop Dominic. He asked us, what's your power ranking, meaning my power ranking, for Miami's opponents this coming season? Okay. Some of these were really easy at the top, at the bottom. The ones in the middle were a little bit tougher. I'm going to start at number 12 and work our way up in ascending order up to number 1. Bethune-Cookman, I've got in the 12 hole, who Miami faces week 1. Southern Miss, who Miami faces week 2, I've got them 11th spot. Middle Tennessee, now that could be a little bit tricky maybe, given that it's kind of right in the midst of your ACC schedule, but I still think that's the 10th. And I ranked Middle Tennessee a spot ahead of Southern Miss. They're in the same conference, Conference USA, different divisions. I don't know much about either team, but Middle Tennessee had a slightly better season than Southern Miss last year, so I ranked Middle Tennessee a little bit higher. Then we get into the ACC opponents. So dead last out of those, and number 1 in my power ranking is Duke. Number 8, Georgia Tech, also not a good team, but Georgia Tech at number 8, that could be a massive trap game, folks. That's right between Florida State and Clemson. So for Georgia Tech's perspective, that's a great time to play Miami, because you're going to get them maybe with the hangover after the emotional rivalry game against Florida State. The week before, one of the two time, that's where we're going to see how much of a difference coaching can make, right? Cristobal and company getting their guys motivated, because in years past, that's the type of game, being right smack in the middle of two massive games, Miami loses like 10 times out of 10 with some of the bad coaches that we've had over the years. So hopefully this staff can be the difference there. I go Virginia Tech 7, Virginia 6. I'm worried about that Virginia game. Miami does not do well in Charlottesville historically, and Brennan Armstrong's a darn good quarterback. So I am worried about that game. Do you think I have Florida State ranked too high at number 5? Because still, like, maybe a couple of these teams, like Virginia and Virginia Tech, they might end up having better seasons than Florida State. And Florida State is at home this year, which is nice. But the rivalry game, oftentimes, 52-10 a couple of years ago was really nice. But oftentimes in that rivalry, you throw together in some cases, against each other in a lot of cases. So, Florida State, I always give them respect. That's like a top 5 most difficult game basically every single year. I go UNC number 4. I'm hoping to finally beat Mac Brown. Pittsburgh number 3. It was tough for me whether I thought the UNC or the Pittsburgh game would be tougher. The Pittsburgh game, last game of the season, that's probably going to decide the Coastal. Like, that's going to be the Coastal Division Championship, essentially. So it's a really big game. Miami did beat Pittsburgh last year, even though they won the ACC, but I think that's a tough one. Clemson at number 2. I debated on this one as well. And then Texas A&M at number 1. Tell me if you agree with that or disagree, if you would flip those. Despite the fact that Clemson's ranked slightly higher than Texas A&M, I just feel like Texas A&M is the slightly better team and slightly tough place to play. 12th that is my power ranking for the Miami Hurricanes opponents. Ooh, we got a question about which Miami player has the most pressure heading into the season. We will get to that and more when we come back here on Locked On Canes. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen today. Available free wherever you get your podcasts and available free on YouTube. So another question we got from a listener that I want to answer from Juan, who says, outside of Tyler Van Dyke, which Canes player has the most pressure to perform this season? I like the way he phrased that because DVD, obviously, starting quarterback with a little bit of Heisman hype. He's on every award watch list he can be on, projected to be a first-round pick. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure on the stud QB. But outside Tyler Van Dyke, I go with Zion Nelson, the starting left tackle, who is coming off a minor procedure to clean up an old injury, and he may not really be ready to go until right around week 1 of the season, which is going to, Zion's a pro. He started 33 out of 35 games that he's played in the last 3 years. So I think he's going to be ready to go, but he loses a little bit of prep time in having this injury. And kind of like Tyler Van Dyke, Zion Nelson, ton of preseason hype. He's projected to be a first-round draft pick next year in the NFL. And he's protecting the blind side, a stud quarterback on a team with a lot of hype and a lot of expectations this year. So, yeah, Zion Nelson, and I think he would embrace the pressure and he's going to perform well under it. But I think Zion's got it. And same thing with TVD. I think he's going to embrace the pressure. But I think Zion could be the next guy with a lot of pressure this year. He's 2 games at left tackle, including all 12 last season. So I'm rooting for Zion, and I'm expecting him to do big things this year. But yeah, the pressure is on. So I want to thank you guys, as always, for taking part, for spreading the love. Be sure to share our YouTube channel, share it on social media, and share it just with your friends. You're at the sports bar, you tell people, hey, this Locked On Canes, it's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. I mean, maybe you think it's great. I hope you do. But let people know that they can listen each and every day. We bring you guys brand new Miami Hurricanes content. And after you listen to and watch Locked On Canes, make sure you get more on the ACC by making Locked On ACC your second listen, with Candace Cooper and the local experts taking you across the ACC in 30 minutes. Locked On ACC. We will talk to you guys again tomorrow. I'm going to be back at my actual home base, hopefully with better internet, I think, I hope, I pray. So we will talk to you again next time on another episode of Locked On Canes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.